Welcome to the class. Today, we are going to talk about some of the parts of speech. As you know, our speech consists of many elements. In particular, we have a sentence as a minimal unit of our speech. There are several types of elements in a sentence. If we look at the category of words in a sentence, they fall into different classifiers. We can classify them in different word types, and they are known as parts of our speech. According to their relationship with one another in a sentence, they also belong to different grammatical relations. So, we will also help you understand some of grammatical relations, that is, relationship of one word in a sentence with another word in grammatical terms. And as an independent category, those words belong to different parts of your speech. So this is what we are going to discuss today in short. And in particular, today we are going to talking about adjectives and adverbs. And then at the end of the class, we will talk about some grammatical relations. So as we know, a word, though every word is part of our speech and they belong to a particular category in a sentence, every word is made of sounds. And in that sense, sound is the basic unit of language. Many sounds combine together to make a word, and many words combine together to make a sentence. In terms of learning a language, this word combine is very important. And this is what we need to know, this is what we need to underline and focus on when we are spending time learning language. How words combine with one another is a crucial part. To get to that, we need to look at parts of a speech. And in particular today, we are going to look at adjectives. So what is an adjective in a sentence? It's type of words which has a special distinction. So an adjective is a word that describes and gives, or we can say they give more information about noun or a pronoun. Please take a note. Noun and pronouns, they are two separate parts of a speech because they are two different words. But categorically, a pronoun is also a noun because a pronoun comes in place of a noun. So, a pronoun is also a noun, but as parts of a speech, they are two different things. So, we have nouns and pronouns. So, we know a noun is a word that is name of something, and therefore we define a noun as a naming word, and a pronoun is a word that stands for a noun. Talking about adjectives, it's a word that describes a noun. So when we say adjective is a word that describes a noun, it automatically means it also describes a pronoun. Look at this example that is given to you. She drives an amazing big sports car. There are several words that are underlined and italicized. What are those words? Look at them carefully. First of all, read this sentence again. She drives an amazing big red sports car. Now, there are so many words here. The first one is amazing, big, red, sports car. So all these are adjectival words. Look at this. We can also say she drives an amazing car. We can also say she drives a big car. We can say she drives a sports car. Or we can simply say she drives a car. So when we say she drives a car, we have no adjective. But all these words are adjective which modify the noun car. This is the noun that is being modified with all these words. What else do you see here? We see that multiple adjectives are being used to modify one noun. It is also possible in a sentence that one adjective modifies multiple nouns. You can make a sentence of that type for your own. At this point, I invite you to make several sentences to check these things. You can make several sentences of this type where you have multiple adjectives modifying one noun, or you can make a sentence where one adjective modifies multiple nouns. So we can say she has amazing cars, bikes, and let's say computers. Now, look at this. Here we have only one adjective, amazing, which is modifying 1, 2, and 3 nouns. Here in the first sentence, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 adjectives modifying one noun. In the second sentence, you have one adjective modifying 3 nouns. So this is one simple information, but a relevant one for us to understand what is an adjective and what is its role in a sentence. So look at some of the sentences. What is your opinion about the car? It is an amazing car. So this answers the question about your opinion. What is the size of a car? It's a big car. What is the color of a car? It's a red color. It has red color. And what type of car it is? It's a sports car. So these questions help you understand that what are the types of information we need from an adjective, and what are the types of information an adjective can give us in a sentence. So the answer is, it can give you information about opinion, size, color, type, and several other things. We are only giving you few examples. So hope this makes sense, and purposely we are leaving it as adjectives as a word. We can also say this car is big. We can say this car is amazing. We can say this car is red. This type of sentence is also possible. So please understand, in order to understand a sentence, when we say these things, look at this. We have big, amazing, and red. We can put all three of them together, or we can have just one in a sentence. But what are they doing? They are modifying again this car. But at this time, you see the order of these words as different. In the previous sentence, you have seen all these adjectives precede the noun car. In this type of sentence, you see all these adjectives following the noun car. So to get an understanding about it and to know why this happens, we need to know one more thing about adjective. The first thing is clear, that is the function of adjective. And according to the function of adjectives, what you see here in both types of sentences is fine. In both these types, that is whether adjectives precede the noun or they follow the noun, the function of the adjective is the same. But there has to be a difference between these two sentences. So when they precede, that is when they precede the noun, that is when adjectives precede the noun, they are called distributive adjectives. And when adjectives follow the noun, and in particular they follow the verb, that is tense marker, then they are called predicative adjective, because after this everything else is part of predicate of a sentence. So in the position of a predicate, these adjectives do come, but they still modify the noun. That is, they give us information about the opinion, size, color, types, and etc. about the noun. So this much gives you a foundation for understanding adjective. There is little bit more that we need to know about adjective and the function of adjective, which will follow later. But understanding adjectives as parts of a speech, as they form part of speech when we speak, this much information is essential and important for us to keep in mind. Look at this. Look at some of the sentences now. As I suggested, I want you to write some sentences on your own, like these, and then check how adjectives are used in your sentences. So look at that. Some of these could be tricky sentences for you, and here is what I want you to check. We hear these kinds of sentences when people speak. What do we hear? Worst fellow. This could be a sarcastic remark. This could be a hilarious remark among friends or something. Usually we don't want to say this, worst fellow. But if we need to, then we do. Beautiful sunrise. So this is the adjective modifying this noun. Beautiful is the adjective modifying sunrise. It was a majestic building with narrow corridors. So here in this sentence, we see majestic is one adjective which is modifying the building, and narrow is another adjective which is modifying corridors. The scope of adjective is limited. In this case, you can see this narrow does not modify a noun backward. It modifies a noun this way, which is corridors. This is a huge black African elephant. Now, again you see the same type of sentence, huge, black, African. All these three adjectives together modify one noun, that is elephant. She is a very sweet girl. Here, sweet is the adjective that is modifying this noun, girl. That is a fragrant sweet. Again, these are predicative adjectives which modify this noun. That is, and basically it's a demonstrative pronoun, but it denotes to some object, and that object is being modified by these adjectives. He is a tall, handsome boy. Again, two adjectives, tall and handsome, modifying this noun, boy. I came from Delhi. So, what is an adjective here? This is a sentence for you to see that there is no adjective here in this sentence. She sings well. What is an adjective here? You would be tempted to say well is the adjective. Caution, well is not an adjective. Same way, from Delhi is not an adjective. Then what is it? We are going to talk about that very soon, but these are two sentences for you to understand that they are not adjectives. Not adjectives. Sarah has a beautiful yellow frock. What is the, again, beautiful, yellow, both adjectives modifying the noun frock. She was thin, pale, and yellow. Remember the last sentence that we discussed? Thin, pale, and yellow, all three of them modify the pronoun he. They are all in the position of a predicate, therefore they are called predicative adjectives, modifying this one now. So, with these 10 sentences, we see examples of distributive adjectives, we see examples of predicative adjectives, and we also see examples where there are no adjectives. Then the question is, as I raised this question to you, in the sentence I came from Delhi, what is from Delhi? She sings, he sings well. That's the sentence in I. What is well in that sentence? We are going to be talking to you about that. That's a different kind of part of speech when we speak. They are called adverbs. So we bring you to this part to understand adverbs. As you can see, you can get some idea from this name itself. It has something to add to verbs or something to add about verbs. So a word that gives information about verbs and or adjectives is an adverb. So it gives information about adjectives also, but largely it gives you more information about verbs. And adverbs usually answer the questions like when, why, how, in what way, etc. In other words, when you see some phrases or words answering questions like when, why, how, or some chunks of our speech being answers to these questions, then we know that they are adverbs. So they don't answer just one question. They answer many types of questions and they become adverbs. So we are going to see some examples. So look at some here. So yesterday evening we walked somewhat slowly in a beautiful garden. So look at and try to identify different parts of this speech. Yesterday evening, we have a evening is a noun, and we have an adverb. Yesterday evening. So this could be an adjective to this noun. We walked somewhat slowly in a very beautiful garden. Now look at this. This is beautiful, an adjective modifying this noun garden. But we walked somewhat slowly. That is, we walked slowly. What is this word slowly doing in this sentence? This tells you how we walked. So it's answering the question how about walking. So this is an adverb to this verb walk. Okay? As you can see here, slowly is walked is the verb and slowly is the adverb. Now, when you see somewhat slowly, what is somewhat? it has adjectival function which tells you little bit more about slowly. So it's not an ordinary slowly, it's a somewhat slowly. So it serves adjectival function for the verb, for modifying adverbs. So you see, on top of that we have written words that give you information about verbs, adjectives and also adverbs. So adverbs can modify adverbs also, adverbs can modify adjectives also, and adverbs together, all of them do modify verbs. So this requires little bit of care in understanding. So this could be somewhat has an adjectival function because it's modifying, but it's a type of adverb which is modifying another adverb. Okay. Yesterday evening is clearly an adjective which is modifying a noun, but together this whole phrase is an adverb which is giving you information about walking. So this together becomes an adverb. When did we walk? Yesterday evening. That answers the question when. In a beautiful garden. Look at this. This beautiful is an adjective for this garden noun, but in this whole phrase, in the beautiful garden, in a very beautiful garden, what do you see? We have a word very, which is giving you information about beautiful. So it's not simple beautiful, it's very beautiful. So this verb is an adverb for adjectives. And together, this whole phrase is giving you information about walk again. So, what is going on here? This whole phrase is an adverb. And why? Because it answers the question where. So, yesterday evening answered the question when. In a very beautiful garden is answering the question where. Somewhat slowly is answering the question how or in what way. Understand? So, we need to understand these words carefully. We need to understand adverbs as part of the word as well as for its function. And you can see somewhat, slowly, very beautiful, and all that I have described. So this is a nice sentence which has examples of multiple things and multiple types of words for you to understand a nicely constructed sentence with examples for everything that we are telling you in the definition of adverbs. So please make some more examples of this type and see what those words are, what types of adverbs they are, and what the functions are. You can alternatively, you can just take a random sentence and see if that sentence has an adjective, if that sentence has an adverb, and that will build your foundation for understanding these things. And in the process, you will also learn not only to identify these parts, that is, not only to build your understanding about parts of our speech, but you will also understand how to make a sound sentence, how to make a better sentence, how to construct a sentence with multiple information, multiple types of information. So look at some examples now. Look, we had, so first of all, I want to take you here when we said these are not adjectives. So now you understand the answer. These are adverbs. So when we say he sings well, so well answers the question how. Okay. So how does he sing? He sings well. From Delhi. I came from Delhi. It gives information about location. So this phrase is also a type of adverb. This whole phrase has adverbial function. And now if you look at these sentences, see, she sings well. Again, well is an adverb. Coffee is very hot. Very hot, this is very is an adverb, but in this case it is modifying, giving you information about hot. Vani is an extremely good singer. This word extremely is modifying the adjective good. So she's not an ordinary good singer, she's an extremely good singer. And together, so this is an adverb for this adjective, but together they still remain adjective for this noun singer. It is too hot today. Too is an adjective, is an adverb which is modifying this hot. She speaks foreign languages fluently. So this word is an adverb which is giving you in answer to the question in what way. The kid is now happy. Now is an adverb which is modifying this adjective. He rides his vehicle very carefully. Look, here carefully is an adverb which talks about riding, the verb, but very is also an adverb which is giving little bit more emphasis for this adverb. I visit my friends daily. This daily gives you frequency, it's an adverb. He will return immediately. Immediately is another example of adverb. So, and also look at she runs very fast. Here, fast is an adverb, very is an adjective for this adverb, and together they give you information about running. Run quickly. Quickly is a word which is giving you information about running. Now, I do want to mention one more point here. Usually when we look at our prescriptive grammar books, and sometimes for the sake of simplicity, people tell you words ending with this are adverbs, which is partly true, partially true. Some adverbs do end with this kind of thing, that is ly. You see, quickly, immediately, carefully, fluently. But adverbs are way more than that. And we need to look at the function of adverb in terms of what it does to develop comprehensive understanding about how we use them to improve our speaking and also to improve our writing. When we do that, we become, that is, our language becomes impressive. Now, so that's what we wanted to describe to you about two things, that is adjectives and adverbs as our parts of speech. We have been dealing with sentences, so very briefly, I want to underline something carefully for you. We have been looking at these many examples of sentences to tell you some examples about adjectives and whether or not some of them are adjectives or not. We have taken these many examples to show you how we use adverbs in a sentence, how we use adverbs to modify adverbs, to modify verb, to modify adjectives, and construct the whole sentence. So for that purpose, we want to indicate few things to you, that is very quickly about subject and object in a sentence. This is a very broad topic, but please remember 2-3 things about it. A subject in a sentence is usually a noun or a pronoun. It could be a phrase or a bigger thing as well, but usually they are either noun or a pronoun. If they are anything else, then those things have nominal or pronominal function. So look at the sentence. Riyadh plays cricket every Sunday. So Riyadh is the subject of this sentence, which is a noun. Ram killed Ravana. Ram is the noun, is the subject of a sentence. They are nice people. They is an example of a pronoun. It's in a subject position. Riyadh did not like her is the name of a person. It's a noun. These are the subjects. We know that we need to know that other than subjects, everything else in a sentence is a predicate. So everything is a predicate. In the predicate, we have cricket as an object. So it's a noun. Ravana as an object. This is also noun. People as an object. This is also noun. But Riyadh did not like her. Her is an example of a pronoun. So only wanted to underline that subjects and objects can be nouns and pronouns. That's one. So the object of a sentence is usually a noun or a pronoun. It's a word. It could be a group of words that receive the accent of the subject. And it answers the question, what? So like we have seen about adverbs, so adverbs can answer questions like how, why, when, etc. The subject, the answer to the question what is always an object. An answer to the question who can be a subject. So find out the subject and object in the following sentences for yourself. And like I said about adjectives and adverbs both, now you can make a sentence to identify all these things in a sentence. That will give you a proper understanding of how we understand parts of speech when we speak. Remember, an exercise of this is important for us to be familiar with the computation in our mind that takes place when we speak, when we understand, and when we write. They together make our language impressive. Look at this example. I want a glass of water. I is the subject. Want a glass of water is the whole predicate. In that, want is a verb. Glass of water. So glass is a noun and water is also a noun. So what is the object? A glass of water. The whole thing is an object. He loves his family dearly. He is the subject, his family is the object, and dearly is the adverb. They ruined the house. They is the subject, the house is the object. So this is not tough, but once you understand, you can identify every single thing in a sentence as one or the other part of our speech. Hope this helps you understand a little bit further the elements of a sentence, and we will continue talking about how we make a sentence and how the sentential computation work in our mind. Please underline this one more time. Understanding this process is the process of making our language impressive, being on top of our understanding of language. Thank you. See you soon.